Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk. It's the 1st of June 2025 and I'm sharing a video with the Stamp Around UK video hop. Several UK demonstrators have got together and we post a video on the 1st of every month, giving you a little more detail, lots of measurements and things and techniques. So have a look once you've watched my video. If you have a look in the description, there's links to everyone else's videos. Have a hop round and have a look. There'll be some amazing techniques and card layouts, maybe even a scrapbook layout for you to use in your crafting. So today I am using, the theme is love, so I thought, well, this sentiment obviously really suits it. So, and this is this month's coffee and card. Now I do a video every Thursday and each month it's a different bundle and you can craft along with me. I give you all the measurements in the description. And if you want to buy the kit as well, just contact me and we can have a look at that too. Right, so, and this is a bonus card for this month's, for June's coffee and card. I thought, as soon as I'm using the same stamp set, I'll give them an extra card that they can make. So, in their kit, they will be getting. So, this is a thick basic white card base and an envelope. I've already pre-done some colouring so that we don't have to watch all of the colouring. And then this piece is from the lovely Garden that goes with the Thankful Garden stamp set, and that's 9.8 by 14.2. The postage cut out, as you can see, it's similar size to the one I've used already. Piece of white to make this flower. Now this is what I discovered after I'd done, a little more of your sentiment, after I'd done my 4 cards for this month's coffee and card. I realised that this little die, I can find it there, cuts out this flower. Honest, it does on here, and I'd not used that in the coffee and card, so I thought I'll use that today. Fabulous bundle, just as a side note. Loads of stamps, loads of dies and masks, so you can either colour with pens or colour with stencils. Okay, and today I'm going to be doing both pens and stencils, so I'll pop that back now. And as I say, if you look at June 2025's coffee and card, you'll see 4 more ideas of how to use this stamp set. Right, let's pop that to one side and get started. And this is the mask. I'm just going to use one mask to do the leaves today, which is, no, not those leaves, these leaves. But there are 5 masks in total that gives you much more detail. Right, so I am going to get my postage and I've already positioned my stamp on a stamping platform. It does seem to be a very sticky one, this one. I've wiped it and wiped it, but it still does like to stick to paper, this stamp. Right, so, okay. Now let's put the pieces. So this is my postage stamp that I've already cut out, and we're going to get, so I'm using Memento ink for this. The other colours I've used are Fresh Fresia and Garden Green and a little bit of Daffodil. I say Dandelion Delight then, Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to stamp my image onto the Perennial Postage die cut. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Do love my Memento black. Just going to put that to one side and grab the little piece. So this is the piece here, and you want to stamp this flower here. So all I'm going to do is cover that up and grab my magnet. That's going to be in the way, so I'm just going to put my magnet down there and quickly check. Yes, it's not. So, and then I'm just definitely inking up that flower. Obviously I'm inking more of the stamp, but I definitely want that flower. Okay. So that's that stamping done. Okay, so there we go. I've just got that flower stamped up so I can colour it and die cut it out on its own. Okay, right, pop that that over there. So grab this back. It's a good job it's my example one, because I've managed to get a blob of ink off my thumb on there. It's an embellishment opportunity, and also if you have done that on this particular die, you can actually turn it over and do it again. So do as I say, not as I do. Right, so I am using these. I'm not going to colour everything in, and I didn't use any shading or anything, but what I did do to get a better differential between the light fresh Fresia and the dark fresh Fresia is I coloured the middle bits and these edges bits in twice. So I'll just show you here. So if we go for this petal here, so I'm starting with the light and I'm coming in. Oh, I just don't know why I missed that. There we go. So we're colouring all these in. Here, you'll do that all the way around. Come in with the dark and colour in these central bits. And then, so if you're crafting along with me, you can actually pause the video and do your colouring and then come back. And then I use my Daffodil Delight just to do this central area here, and I did that central area on that one as well, and then a bit in the middle too. Okay, so and then I came back again with the dark and just went over these bits here. So I coloured in all the flowers and this little flower, and then die cut that flower out. So I have got in here I've got those bits in my envelope. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you how I did the leaves. So what I'm going to do is just grab a piece of craft tape, hide the dreadful fingerprint, and then I've got a stencil here, and I'm just going to line up. Now, as I say, there are 5 stencils in this thing, and if you're using them all, you can use these triangles to centre them, and I think on my coffee and card I have used all 5. So but on this one I'm just going to, I just want the plain flat colour of the green for this, because the detailed in the stamping gives the sort of texture. Okay, and then I'm going to get my green brush. So I tend to have brushes in colour families. I do not have 50 of these. So I'm just going to lightly, because I have just re-inked this pad, and I'm just working off some of the excess on. Now I do it on the stencil, because if you do it on the stencil, once your brush is fading, you can pick that up. You're not wasting it. If you do it on your paper, then it's gone, it's done. Right, so if I was doing more detail stenciling, I'd have put more tape on the image and more tape on my stencil. I am actually having to hold it down quite hard here. So I'm wanting quite a subtle look, just a hint of that green, so I'm not putting loads on. So we're just colouring that nicely with the green. So as you can see, I've used most of the ink there, so without having to go and re-ink, and same around the edges here. Now, if I'm doing a lot of, whenever I'm doing stenciling, when I finish, I actually go wash them in soapy water. I'll wipe them down gently in between, but there's lots of little edges like here and here, and you don't want to get them bent or you'll lose the effect. So wipe them gently or tap them gently with a cloth, and then wash them properly when you finish. Now, those observant ones among you will notice there's a gap. Now, if I was using the second stencil, that gap will be filled in, but I'm not using that today, but it will be hidden by the sentiment. Okay, so just grab this. You can tell this is the one I use with my brushes. It's probably due a wash. So I'm just going to take the worst off that on my cloth. There we go. Pop it back to be used again. So keep this out because I need it for my stamping. So there's a little note. There's my little. So Craft Perfect dye tape. It's really useful, not as sticky as washi tape, so you don't get sticky messes everywhere and it doesn't rip your card. I get mine off Amazon. the second greatest craft shop after Stampin' Up. Right, I'm going to stand up and look through my light to do this. We call it the sticking your bottom out technique. So I'm just lining that up. There we go. Cool. All right, let's just put this card together. So, as I said, in true Blue Peter fashion, I have one I made earlier. Those can go to one side. Right. Oops, chucking things around. So there is a direction to this paper. I like my plants to grow up. So, and it's got really, I mean, you could use either way with this. I'm going to stick with the green. So, but if you're sending it to a really girly girl, then go with the fresh freesia. Right, just pop some glue on here. So just press it lightly until you're happy with the centering of the paper. You see I can wiggle it around a bit, that's why we use wet glue. There we go, and then we're going to stick this on. And again, don't press it down till you're happy. Now, because this is designed really for American cards rather than English cards, and ours are slightly narrower and longer, it's easier on the eye if you leave more at the bottom than you do at the top. So if you don't think you can quite get it absolutely centered, then do slightly towards the top. Right, and then I'm just going to add this with a couple of dimensionals. And I sort of had it facing the opposite way to that flower. So that way. Maybe a bit further up. There we go. So it just gives it a bit more texture, and then I am going to dimensionals on here and put that, so I'll make sure that I just cover that blank bit there. You can always fill that in if you want to with it. It would have to be one of the, you can either, yeah, it would have to be one of the Stampin' Right markers, because we don't do, for some bizarre reason, a garden green blend. Right, there we go. So, and just to finish it off, I'm going to use some purple fine shimmer gems, which are here, and I just put a large one and a small one together. Trying to see where the colour changes. So just put a big one and a little one together there, and then a little one near the top, just sort of there-ish. Okay, and there we go. So I like them both, but I do like the way that the dies for these two match, although yeah, that's quite nice. Yeah, as I say, I like them both. So you can comment which is your favorite down below. So take care, and I shall see you next month. Bye.